Good afternoon, everyone here. It's just gone afternoon in Melbourne. Good morning to everyone else if you're in Queensland or the rest of Australia still. Got half an hour at least. Thank you for joining our webinar, first one of 2026. It's February 2026 webinar. We'll be covering December and January updates and latest feature enhancements. We are trying out some new tech today, so things are a little bit different from the way we've done them in the past. If you have any questions during the presentation, we'll be doing our Q&A as usual, but there's a little button that you'll see at the bottom of your screen, which is a little icon with a question mark. In there, you can put in any of your questions into the chat. As usual, we do have some polls that we're going to be running throughout the presentation. We really do value your response to those, so make sure that as the polls come up, we will that you take part in them. Again, we're doing some new technology today, so it'll be a little bit different, but should be fine. If you missed the presentation for any reason at all, we will be recording it and posting it up to our YouTube page, and just look up for it, a notification about it in your email in the next sort of day or two. Also, a really big welcome to anyone who's joined us that was at the SMSF Association National Conference in Adelaide last week. It was really great. It was my first conference, so it was really, really great to attend that for the first time, and also to meet some of our clients, chat about Supermate to some prospective new clients. It was great fun. So if you were there and you dropped by, it was great to meet you. All right, we will be showing this slide quite a few times. We're very, very proud of the awards, the 2 awards that we won last year. Really just kind of showing our commitment to constantly, putting out new features, innovating, and putting out a really, really, really top grade SMSF administration software platform. So, some of the things that we are doing, we're talking about just automating as much as possible. So we've got about a 95% automation goal. We've got about over 260, I think, live data feeds and continually growing. So if there's some things that you would like to see in terms of data feeds, just let us know as well. Our Data Hero product, which is, which basically takes in documents from PDFs and extracts the data into live transactions for those. Really, really great enhancement there. And of course, we are absolutely committed to security, and so we have these top level security. Some great awards that we've achieved. Very, very proud of those. Presenting today is myself, Eugene Skippers. I'm the Business Development Manager for Supermate, and along with me is the legendary Rhys Hopper, Manager of Product Design. Rhys and I got to hang out last week at the conference and show Supermate to some potential new clients. It was great fun, and Rhys is doing some amazing stuff in the background. It's just Rhys and myself for this first one. We should be getting Craig Stone again in future webinars. Right, well, so we have quite a packed agenda that we're going to be going through today. I might just pass over to Rhys at this stage, who will take you through the agenda and all of the new features that we have. Rhys, over to you.
Thanks, Eugene. I shall share my screen. So the items that I will be covering off is the custom security roles, the linking documents to transactions, the reporting settings tokens, the report updates, ability to lodge the SMSF annual return windups, and we've incorporated DRP residual for corporate actions. I'm only covering off these 6 items today. We've had a big couple of months where we've released 343 items across 18 releases. We've brought in custom security roles mainly because we've received a bit of feedback about sites wanting a bit more flexibility in what users can and cannot do. When we released Supermate originally. We had the 5 user types that are on the screen. They are fixed, and they range from basic access to full access. So you can see here on screen, I do have the fund viewer, which is the most basic. The user type can log into Supermate, can access funds, can see transaction screens, can run reports, but can't update transactions, can't process transactions, can't run closes, cannot update details. Then the next one is the fund admin, which is more responsible. These are the type of people that would be doing fund processing, running letters, running reports, doing the end of year close, so basic day-to-day activities. The next level is the site admin, which is more your senior positions where you need someone to control site settings, letter tokens, report suites, system defaults, items where you probably don't want the fund admins going in and changing things. That's where the site admin does it. Site admin also has access to user settings. So once another item where the fund admin doesn't, the fund admin probably shouldn't have access to. Then moving on, we do have a site owner, which is basically a site admin, except the site owner can see billing information, and a user admin. And the user admin is for IT teams, larger sites where you have a dedicated IT team which controls systems and software access. The user admin would be the type of role where they would go in and, okay, we've got a new employee. I'm going to set them up. This person's left. I'm going to remove them. They only have access to the user screen, pretty much. They don't have access to client information. They can't process anything. So that's where that user admin role came in. And the feedback we got was that there were certain items where people say, I actually trust my fund admin to do this, but I don't want to give them site admin access, because if I give them site admin access, then all of a sudden, letter templates can get changed, system defaults can get updated. An example of this is the bank verification. And I'll be using the bank verification as an example, where we released bank verification. We gave it to site admin roles level because we thought, it is verifying bank accounts is probably something that you want to keep to more trusted roles, which is the premise of the site admin. But we've had people say, hey, we want to give these certain people who are fund admin level roles ability to verify bank accounts. They're not relying on senior staff, waiting on senior staff to verify. But yeah, like I said before, we don't want to give them access to the other options. Okay, so what I am going to do is I'm going to navigate Supermate just to show you how to update and control these user types. So under settings, users, this is where obviously users are maintained. We can see the security role. There's a team role, which I'll go in later, explain the difference. The configuration, security roles, and obviously this is where you configure your security roles. As you can see, I've already created one. It's the fund admin with bank verification. It was quite easy for me to create this one, as we have the copy existing role option. We have a new role option. I'm going to show off copy existing role first, where if I select copy existing role, I can select a role type that is similar and then I can modify the permissions that I want to provide to that user type. So if I go fun admin, select copy, I get a screen where I can put in the role code, role name, role description. It's already got the fun admin's security policy set to allow that the fun admin is allowed to do. And then I can scroll down to the deny section and add items. So I can say, okay, well, this one, bank verification, accessing TFNs. I trust them, say, to lodge electronically by SBR. Maybe updating and adding orders. I trust this role type to be able to do that. Then I just select save and it creates that security role. When I go new role, that's more of a, hey, I'm starting with a clean slate, enter in the code name description, then all the default values are denied, so you'd have to go through and change it all to allow. So that's the handy thing about the copy functionality. Once the security role has been created, we can navigate back to the user section, and I'm going to update Andy from being a fun admin to fun admin with bank verification, and I'll select save. I'll point something else out now that Andy is a fun admin with bank verification. Since I set the policies for lodging by SBR and viewing TFNs as allow, these become automatically ticked, and they'll become unticked automatically if I move them back to fun admin. Now, the point of these tick boxes is that it's just further customization of roles. So you could make someone fun admin with bank verification, and you could say this particular individual, we can trust them viewing TFNs or lodging annual returns. So you can tick and untick these. You can control that independent of the security role type. Going back to the configuration of security roles, if I no longer want that security role, I can select deactivate on the proviso that there is no other active users with that role type. So I can't deactivate this because I made Andy one. I'd have to go back to users, change him back to a different role type, and then I can deactivate it. If there is a inactive user that has that role type, I can still deactivate it. If there are no users active or inactive that have that role type, I can actually delete that role type completely. It's basically security roles. I do want to take some time just to quickly explain the difference between a security role and a team role. So a security role is more level of access to menu items within Supermate. It's what they can and can't do, what menu items they can access. Team role is more a structure that you can set up to allocate people to teams, and it's completely customizable. You can set up teams based on functions or location, just however you want to split it up. I've seen it set up for where you have a large enterprise where you have a fund accounting team, a daily reconciliation team, a business support team, and you can set up those team, all those people, so all the business support people report to a business support team leader, same with the accountant, same with the quality reviewers. And so you can set up teams to go, this is the accountants and this is the team leader. Or I've also seen it location-based. So location-based, you can go, this is Brisbane, this is Melbourne, this is Adelaide. And then within that team, you can set the leader of that team. So I'm the leader of the green team. And then the team roles themselves, you can allocate them team roles, and you can allocate them multiple team roles. So if you have someone in your team who, where here Peter is accounting only, I've set myself as full administration of funds, but maybe I want to make Peter's now in control of accounting only and documentation only. And so you could use this structure, create a team, but also reporting direction. So you can set up, team roles as BST, junior accountant, senior accountant, director, partner. You can have you make the partner the team leader. Okay. The next item, linking documents to transactions. The benefits of linking documents to transactions is when you're reviewing a fund, either from someone who's picking up a fund as an accountant or a team leader reviewing a completed set of financials, you can see the documents that are linked to transactions. From a history point of view, if it's been years have passed and you want to see why someone's processed a transaction, if the supporting documentation is linked to that transaction, that does help a lot. But also from an auditing perspective, where you can, where the auditor, if they log in through Auditor View, they can see the document that is linked to a transaction. Also, if the auditor is using our API, they can call that transaction and the document that is linked to that transaction. So they can interrogate it through API also. Moving back to Supermate, I am going to show how to add documents to transactions. So jumping into the reconciliation screen, I should have a bank transaction that's for water. When I go into the reconciliation screen, I can go process that to water, and then I can either choose a file from my desktop. So I could grab this utility bill. I can add it from documents. So if the document is already in the DMS, you can go to the DMS, link it through the DMS. So I can search through the DMS to find it, or I can just drag and drop, which I'll do now. Once I drag and drop, the document does appear on the right-hand side, so you can verify, yeah, this is 305.74, 307.54. You can view the document. If there's further processing of that document, the document's there and you can complete the processing. Okay, I'm going to select save, and that will process the transaction and also link that document. The other way to do it is, say if I have transactions rules set up for the fund, which I have for this fund, and I get the document in and it's sitting in my document section, I can go to my document screen and link it to an already existing document. So if I go documents, go to my document section, open up my document queue, I can see I have a rates notice here. So it is property expense rates. This one is already linked to a transaction, so I can just clear that. Type in rate, so it's picked up that it knows which account it relates to. I'm saying no, it's actually this transaction, the 655.88, that matches up. I can select link and then correct the date on it. And that's how you can, from a document section, link it to transactions. So you can do it both ways. If you have a set of documents on your desktop or already in the DMS that are indexed while processing, you can link it. Or if you just go through, process the fund really quickly, you can circle back around and attach the document to the transaction when you are indexing the document. So I can select save and next. Now that I have attached the documents to the transactions, you can see that I have attached the transactions in the transaction screen or the reconciliation screen. So if I go rates, you can see, yep, there's a bunch of transactions that have a document attached. I can go to the reconciliation screen and perform the same action. If I go rates, I can see which rates transactions have a document. I can go to the asset overview screen. And when I look at the property, I can see, say, in the expenses, I can see here, yep, these two transactions have documents attached. These ones don't. From a review point of view, one way I would do it is I would open up my general ledger, go through my general ledger. I can see that there's transactions for these accounts. And I'm going to jump down to rates. If I search one of the property expense accounts, I can see the document icon, select view. I can see which ones have a document. I probably would request this from the client or check to see if it's indexed somewhere else. Other interactive reports. So if I was looking at my expense comparison and I wanted to look at, say, for example, this one has a 10% variance. I want to look at it. I can select view transactions and I'll get taken to the transaction screen, filtered on that expense type, and I can see the documents. The other place that we did add documents, it's not for transactions, but for notes. In fund notes, you can this is where you obviously add notes and maintain them. I've created a client contact note on the 23rd of February. I spoke to Jack. He called to discuss pension minutes, and then I can attach the document that was discussed. So if later on we want to revisit a conversation or we want to review the communications that has occurred, you can jump into notes, see the document that's attached to that note. The other item I'll point out is the bulk document download. So allowing documents attached to transactions does allow review of events for that financial year. You can also jump into the documents section and select bulk download, and for a financial year, you can download all the documents, ones that are flagged as auditor type documents, or download a certain type of document. Select download, that will trigger a job, which then will provide the documents in a zip file. So if you're using this for document storage, you can also download all the documents and send it off to the auditor if they don't have auditor view or an API for the system. The next feature I want to cover off, report settings. We've added over 4 report settings, but these are the ones I really want to talk about. The generating a report as part of a final close, we've enabled this level of customization. So generating a report as final close. Obviously, when a final close is run, we generate the reports then and there to lock in the figures for the end of year reports when the close is being performed. And you do have the ability to customize the existing report suite. You also have the ability to remove or add report suites and make them be generated when locking off the financial year. So that is in the report suite screen. If I select edit on this trial close one, it's unticked. I can tick it and the trial close reports will get generated when I perform the final close. Obviously, I don't want the trial close reports to be generated, so I'm not going to tick that option. Then in the end of year section, the audit and signing screen where all the reports can get generated. This is where I can produce these reports, and any report that is ticked will appear here. I'll put the asterisks on. It's the reports that were set to be generated at the time you did the close. So if I went and added a report now and said generate as part of the close, I wouldn't be able to come into the screen and see that now because the close is already complete. My 2 options are either go back to the period close, unlock it, relock it, or I could go to the generate report suite. And for this fund, I can just run the report suite as of 30th June of the relevant year, and then that will produce that report for this fund. Other report options, conditional letters, active pensions. So this one relates to letters that are set up as a client entity type. I'm going to navigate back to the report suite screen, bring up my final close report. And you can see here I have some ASF letters that are conditional based on ASF being the auditor. Down here, pension review letter, I'm going to select conditions. And the 2 options that we have added are members with active pensions during the period and members with active pensions as at the effective date. And the benefit of this is that you can set up client letters for relating to pensions, say pension establishment documents if you want to get it signed with the end of year financials. You can do it. So these will be, if you're doing it for establishment ones, I probably wouldn't add it to the end of year one because it'll pick up only if it was established on 30th of June. I'm trying to think of another one. Where I've used this is in a report suite. I've created a report suite with the establishment minutes and said, generate this for active pensions as at the effective date. And then I've set up the workflow to generate the letters when the pension commenced. So there's that automation there. The difference between effective date and during the period is, say, this one would include the terminated pensions. So if you had pensions that had an opening balance, then were closed during the year, got paid out, they would be included under this scenario. At effective date, if you put in the end of year financials, it would only include the active pensions that existed at the end of financial year. Third report setting is the personal contribution notice. We've put in a option to be able to produce the personal contribution notice only for members with member concessional contributions. Navigating back to Supermate, if I go to the transaction screen for the 26th financial year, so type in contributions, you can see I have 2 contributions. Jack's got employer, Kylie's got the self-employed concessional contributions that I've put them through as member concessional contributions. So when I run the report now, it will only include, it'll only produce the reports for Kylie. And where this has been requested, people say, we only want to send this minute for people who actually intend to claim a tax deduction. So Kylie's the only one with member concessional contributions. So the report's only generated for Kylie. The option's still there that you can generate it for members that don't. So you can turn the option on and off if you want. Where I've seen people or heard people that want to leave it on is it's a good minute to confirm that, hey, say if these were employer contributions, it would say 30 grand and 0 grand signed by the trustee and signed by the member. And you have documentation if they come back and say, actually, it was member concessional. I told you it was member concessional. Well, I got a signed minute here saying that you said it was employer. But yes, the option is there for you to update. Report disclaimers. We've added the ability to put report disclaimers on reports generated out of either Supermate or Client View. And there is a distinct difference where reports generated by the user, by the accountant in Supermate, you can have a certain report disclaimer. And then Client View, you can have a different disclaimer. Jumping into Supermate, if I run the investment summary as an accountant, so this is my accountant login, it will produce this here. That's my disclaimer saying, this is information only. It's not financial, taxation, or legal advice. If I was and logged in to Client View, this will probably log me out as I've timed out. Log back in. So I'll log in as an advisor, jump into the reports for the client, and I'll generate the exact same report. But since I'm generating it out of Client View, comes up with a disclaimer saying reports are generated from Client View reflect information process, contact your client manager before making decisions. And so you can add that disclaimer to say, hey, this report is only as accurate as what we've processed. So, there could be a chance that you're generating a report for a period where there's unreconciled transactions, or we haven't reconciled up to that point. So that's a way you can just provide that disclaimer to the clients. And just a reminder, reports in Client View, you can customize which reports they have access to. So I think I've set up the site that they only can access 14 of the reports. completely customizable what reports advisors or trustees have access to in client view. They're the four more important or exciting report settings that we released. The tokens that we've released over the last couple of months, the main two is the month token. So current month, previous month. Where I've seen this used is, or what's been requested for is, say, you're sending a letter out to explain to a client that you have commenced work. So you could say, hey, I've started work. This is the month, or follow-up. You could say, if it's a 1 month follow-up template, you could add in a follow-up to say, you know, I contacted you about this in the previous month, and it actually says what month it is. Or you could create an if statement to go, I've generated this letter today, but it's relating to a period a couple of months ago, and you can create an if statement to say, okay, well, you know, you can change a paragraph, the language in a paragraph to express the urgency of a task, or that to you know, provide clarity over expectations. Hey, I've contacted you. It's been over a month. Contacted you in the previous month. Can you please respond? Otherwise, we won't be able to get the financials completed in time. Something like that. The other token item that was requested was we added minimum and maximums and the total amount paid to the client list pension table token. So you can add a table token, and we've added the total minimum and maximum. So it can list the members that have a pension and the total minimum and maximum for that individual, as opposed to the other table token, which splits out based on the different pension accounts. For example, if I had Kylie in my account and she had 5 pension accounts, all with different various minimum amounts, this token will actually sum it. So if there was 5 pension accounts with about 10 grand minimum each, that's 50 grand in total. This token will return 50 grand for Kylie, this much for Jeff, this much for Brad. And the reason we added it was the feedback from clients saying that our clients don't care that they have multiple pensions. They just need to know how much they need to take out in total per person. We'll also point out that we do have a token that can be put in outside the table, where it is based on financial years. So if you don't want to use a table, or you want to set up a letter that goes, for this fund, this is the minimum pension that has to be taken out of the whole fund. So if it's a husband and wife fund, they might not care that, okay, Kylie needs to take out 50 grand and Jack needs to take out 50 grand. They might just care that they want to take out 100 grand overall. So you can create a letter with the letter tokens, net min amount, and the net min for the following year. The last report update I'll point out is the registry reconciliation. We have updated the registry on it to be more user-friendly. So rather than just bulk caps, computer share, I think Atomic used to say Atomic Share Registry. Same with Boardroom. We've shortened it, made it look a lot nicer on that registry reconciliation report. Oh, my second last item I wanted to cover off is lodging 2026 SMSF annual return for windups. This is quite exciting, where you can now lodge a windup annual return in Supermate. You no longer have to do the paper-based report, paper-based return, organize it to get signed manually, post off the ATO, and then call up the ATO multiple times, waiting 6 months for the paper-based form to be lodged. I'm going to navigate to Supermate, show how to do it. You can see when I've selected the fund list, I've got a couple of badges here. One says winding up, one says wound up. I'm going to work with this fund first. When I've selected the fund, and it has a status of wound up or winding up, you do get this sticky note to remind you that, hey, this fund is winding up or it is wound up. If it's wound up and you put a date in, it states the effective date of the wind up. It also has a badge, so really trying to bring to attention that, hey, this fund is a wind up fund. To set that it is a wind up fund, if we jump into the fund details, the status here, it was current administration. I can change it to winding up just to say, hey, this is winding up, but they haven't sold all our assets yet. We're waiting for rollover details, etc., etc. Once everything's sold and everything's rolled out, you can update it to wound up, put the wind up date in. Then when you navigate to the end of year section, where you do the close, it will complete the close on the date that you say it's wound up. So when you do the close, the financials will be up until 20th of February, 26 in this case. If you do want the report to say up until 30th of June, you could just change the wound up date to 30th of June, and the reports you produce will reflect that. So that's, yeah, so updating the status, come in here, perform the close, you get the report answers should automatically say that it's a wind up. So yep, says it's a wind up, says the date that it's wound up. The audit signing section, this is where I can update or generate the reports, see that they're up until the 20th of February, update the audit status, and then select lodge. This feature, lodging windups, is only available in Supermate, so it's not available in Classic. So yes, it's, if you have any windups, give it a go. The other item I should point out is that the ATO does have a cutover period where they're preparing for the next financial year's annual returns. So as a result, from the 15th of June, you won't be able to lodge wind ups. So if you do have any funds where you're like, yep, I want to lodge it, make sure you do it before 15th of June, because between 15th of June and 30th of June, you can't lodge the wind ups. The last item covering off is DRP residual balance. The way that Supermate used to process DRPs is that the revenue from the dividend, so the cash amount, is used as a new cost. So new cost is equal to cash account. Generally the carried forward, well, the difference due to DRP residual is, could be considered as immaterial. So a lot of our clients are comfortable with not using carried forward DRP residuals. but we've also received feedback that certain people want to use it. So we've enabled the ability to use carried forward DRP residuals. So again, I will show you how to set this up and jump into the site. If I go to the fund details screen, configuration tab, you can tick accrued DRP residuals. I don't want to do it for this fund. I'm going to navigate to a different fund to show it off. But yep, select the accrued DRP residuals, select save to lock it in. This fund. Then, before I show you how it works, is I will go to the fund and account control screen just to show you which account that it uses. For my site, it's set up as DRP, fund DRP residual account is set up as the 30069 account. Obviously, this can be modified to use whatever account you want, but those DRP residuals will go through this 300 account. Now, when processing the corporate action, open up the years, select search. When I select edit, that's where I can edit the carried forward DRP. So this is the amount that's carried forward to this dividend. Then the new cost will be calculated as the dividend amount plus what you're carrying forward from the previous one. That'll give you the amount that's available. How much they buy is the DRP reinvestment price multiplied, the total amount that I said before, divided by the DRP reinvestment price. Rounding occurs, so therefore you receive a new cost, and then what is brought forward to the next year, the next dividend will be the cash account plus the carried forward from the previous one, minus the new cost will give you the bring forward. You might notice that I have make this decision. So for future dividends and distributions, if you can see in the background, they're already set to DRPs. I've already put it in. But if this was cash and I change it from cash to DRP and I put the amount in, select save and recalculate, it would go off, convert all the future dividends to DRP, and then this 26.8 will be carried forward to future dividends. So you can see here, this one was automatically carried forward, 2.66, 2.57. And then when I navigate to the transaction screen, type in the account number, you can see that these are the amounts that get taken, well, the DRP residual account is being increased or decreased by. Thank you everyone for attending the webinar. I've covered off what I think is the 6 most exciting and most requested features. Obviously we have a lot more, but that's great because I saved plenty for next webinar. We're going to throw back to Eugene.
Just a reminder that the Supermate has a really useful help portal, and you can access that by just clicking on the little question mark at the top of your top right hand of your screen, and just click on help portal, and there you'll find pretty much anything you need to know about using Supermate. It's updated frequently as we add new features as well, so it's a great place to go and find answers. If you are not using Supermate for web, I can't understand that. You need to jump on it. this award-winning software that is, you just have to be part of the hype, part of the tribe. Jump on Supermate for $132 per annum, excluding GST, and that gets you access to all of those little ticked items over there. For an additional $475 per month, you can access the full range of all our data feeds. Also, we do have an education module, education services. It's on-demand learning. You can earn CPD points in accreditation. If you do all 30 of those modules within 12 months, it satisfies ASIC's RG 146 SMSF specialist knowledge requirements, which enables you to offer SMSF advice. That was great. Thank you, Rhys. We do have a couple of questions, so I will just pop over to that. And let me just, sorry, I have one of my dogs over here deciding that he wants to be part of this webinar. Okay, so let's have a look at the questions. So does the API download of supporting documents work with caseware audit software?
Yes, so I'm not 100% sure what caseware audit software pulls exactly from their end, but they do have access to our API, so they will be able to use the API to download the supporting documentation.
Okay, cool. And then the last one is, how do you stop documents from running automatically? So for example, the ABP minimum letter with the pension review letter, this one, we don't use this letter, we use our own, but it keeps generating and sits in the documents. So we're able to turn that off? Yes,
sure. So yes, the pension review letter, that would be an end of year automatically generated letter. If you open up the auto generation screen, there will be a bunch of events where the letter templates are linked to. You can just remove the event, so it no longer occurs in the future. So one of the handy things about Supermate is, that you can set up letters to be generated automatically on certain events, but you can also remove that letter. So we could reach out and show the exact screen.
Yep. All right, Sandra. If you need any help with that, just let us know, and Rhys will jump on and show you how to do that. Thank you all for your questions. We've only got 2 minutes left. If you do have a quick question, drop it in quickly. Otherwise, we might just call it time for today. I don't think we're going to get any other questions. So, Rhys, thank you very much for your presentation. Great features as always. Looking forward to more next month. And thank you all for joining us today. Our first webinar using some new technology. We'll do a bit of a review after this and see how it went. But thank you for joining us. Have a great day and see you next month. See ya.
Thanks, Eugene.